Welcome back to the tea party. We're not quite all mad here yet, and today I'd like to share with you my struggles as a creative millennial with ADHD and the coping strategies that I try to use to overcome that. Let's get started. So I'll be referring to my notes here. You might see me looking down. I feel like the subject matter or the content that I've been putting out lately has kind of gone down a bit. As the title of this video would suggest, I've been suffering from some struggles in terms of my creativity, and I have personal struggles with ADHD and also some physical issues, self-diagnosing at this point as related to EDS. And if you're not familiar with that, it's an issue with your connective tissue. I recently learned that you can have flare-ups, which is something that I've been experiencing. For me, it manifests as inflammation, and it can affect random parts of my body. And the last two flare-ups that I've experienced have impacted my back in some way. So needless to say, that can be very debilitating. My hopes in sharing this is that if other people are experiencing this as well, maybe there's going to be some benefit to you in just feeling seen, and maybe there's some tidbits that you might pick up here that could help you manage these things a little bit easier. So to start, executive function, I struggle with that. Basically any task that's administrative in nature, I'll say, or something that's not going to be giving me dopamine, like scheduling appointments, or even just creative projects if I'm doing something that's not particularly engaging, like kind of a poopier part of the project I'm not as excited about. Body doubling can be really beneficial with that. Sometimes I'll hop on Discord with my partner and his friends when they're playing video games in the evenings, just to be part of a crowd. And there's something about that specifically that satisfies that body doubling. Sometimes I can also do that with YouTube videos if I put on like other creators, or for some reason, Girl with the Dogs, that satisfies that requirement for me. That can help with body doubling if you don't have someone who's available to just hang out with you. And that's basically what body doubling is. It's someone just hanging out with you while you do a thing. So if you have friends that maybe you guys go run errands together or hang out with each other while you run errands, you're basically body doubling. Something that some people may not have access to that helps me with this is medication. But I will say that medication for me so far has only helped to a point, that I still have to employ additional coping strategies on top of medication. Something else that can help with that is breaking a task down into smaller steps. And I've started including the steps of setting up to do a project in the steps of actually doing the project. And there's something about that can help me with executive function if I'm struggling to just start on something. So maybe I'm feeling intimidated by actually starting the project. Instead of focusing on that, I'll focus on getting everything prepared that I would need in order to start. And then when there's no barriers to actually beginning the project, that really helps me to be able to even get started. Something else I struggle with is decision paralysis, and that's something that I'm in right now. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I've been talking about doing this sword case for a couple videos now, and I am suffering really bad from decision paralysis. And I won't go into details about why I'm struggling there, but I have actually already started the project, but I'm at a point where I need to make some decisions, and I just haven't been able to overcome that. So this is a do as I say, not as I do. And it's easy to say these things, but not always easy to practice them, okay? So full admission of that. But something that can help with this is KISS. If you haven't heard the expression, keep it simple, stupid. So I got way in my head about this project and what it needed to be, and I think I blew it a bit out of proportion. So now I just need to reel that back in, I think, to satisfy just the function of what this is supposed to serve. It's a sword case, right? It's not even like an actual performance prop. If it was a performance prop, it'd be a little bit different, but it's just a case. This is to serve a function. It's not supposed to serve a fashion statement. So I'm in the process now of trying to do that with that project. Something else that I kind of get stuck on, and I feel like this is in some way related to ADHD, but I don't know the exact terminology, is the pursuit of perfection. And I think I've also gotten stuck on that with this sword case project as well, just wanting it to be perfect. I think specifically because it's for another person. If it was for me, I probably wouldn't be hung up on it that much. But because this is for another person, I really want it to come out well. And something that I think I need to keep in mind there is accepting imperfection, even if it is for someone else, as long as the function is achieved. I already mentioned that sometimes it can help to include preparation of your workspace as part of your project. But taking that a step further, just resetting your creative spaces and your tools, like doing a once over on your sewing machine if you're sewing, or making sure all of your paintbrushes are clean and dry and prepped, setting up your easel, like things like that can be super helpful if you're struggling even to just get started. I can't show you, but my dining table right now is a hot mess because I had multiple things going on all at the same time. The dining table also tends to be the drop point when I walk in the door and I have my arms full. If it won't go on the kitchen counter, then it goes on the dining table. So it's a hot mess over here right now. This video is going to be not edited because I am just super pressed for time, and I'm going to aim to have a proper video to post for next week, but it's going to require some planning on my part because my schedule has become much more occupied. Let's see, what else? Dopamine. So when we're talking about ADHD, dopamine is a thing. And if something's not giving you dopamine, you're probably going to be less inclined to do it. So I've found that setting a goal, like something super small, and then having a little treat after accomplishing that goal can help with the dopamine. And by a little treat, I mean, maybe it's a piece of chocolate. Maybe you're lighting a candle before you even start to kind of get some dopamine going first and set a vibe, get a smell going in your room, like something you enjoy. Make a cup of tea, or have a coffee. Don't go overboard with the caffeine. That's bad, y'all. And drink your water. Snuggle your cat. Whatever is going to give you some dopamine. And you can use that as like an initial shot of dopamine just to kick things off and get you started. Or you can continue to kind of set milestones for yourself throughout whatever task you're trying to accomplish. And have those little dopamine treats along the way to just sustain yourself and keep yourself going. Whatever we're doing, we have to feel rewarded. We have to feel good doing it, because otherwise it's a slog and it becomes this giant hill, this giant mountain to climb, and it doesn't have to be that way. The last thing I want to say is, and this is probably the most important, right? Be kind to yourself. Don't quit beating yourself up. I'm really bad about this. Again, do as I say, not as I do. Beating yourself up mentally, that little voice inside your head, you can argue with that voice. Did you know that? You can argue with that negative Nancy that's in your head and put that in check. Go back and look at past achievements. Look at past projects. Go back and look at stuff that you're proud of, or maybe even something that was really complicated. Or go back and look at projects that you did when you were just starting out, and you'll have a point of comparison for where you are in your skills today. There's a lot of ways to go about being kind to yourself, but I think we have to take some steps to remind ourselves that we are human. We are not perfect. Things don't have to be perfect. We have done some really cool, awesome shit in the past that we should be proud of. I've heard this a lot, like, speak to yourself as if you would speak to a friend. We wouldn't usually tell a friend, like, oh my God, this is going to be so terrible. This is looking like crap. Like, you wouldn't say that to a friend, right? You would, regardless of what it looked like, you would encourage them to keep going. You're going to be kind to that person. You're not going to discourage them. You're not going to berate their work. It's all a learning process. So being hard on yourself, being mean to yourself is not going to help. It's just going to damage your self-esteem. Honestly, I feel like it can play into that whole rejection sensitivity dysphoria, right? Because if you're getting negative self-talk, like, I imagine that probably plays into that. Nobody needs that kind of negativity in their lives. So just remember, whatever you're doing, you're learning along the way. It's a process. It doesn't have to be perfect. And honestly, functional is good enough and not so hard to achieve, right? Be kind to yourself. I feel like I'm rambling now. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. And look out next week for a proper video. I'm going to call it that. Make sure you're following me over on Instagram, because I'll be sharing more content over there. And if you're interested in more content about DIYs, self-awareness, I'm getting into performance arts now, so that's going to be a thing, or just some fantasy geek millennial lady and her cat, go ahead and subscribe. I upload videos most Fridays, and I'll see all of you ethereal little dumplings again real soon. Bye!